Do you want to know what the dictionary definition of commitment is? I will tell you after I spell it right. In this video, we are going to share with you several tips to having the greatest relationship that you possibly can. And a relationship and the quality of it can heavily contribute to also your weight loss journey. We talk a lot about losing weight and how to do it successfully, but environment is one of those things that contributes. And in your environment, if you have a significant other, or in fact, any other kind of relationship, be it a business relationship, be it a friendship, be it a relationship with a family member, all of these things apply. And so we are excited to be able to bring that to you today. And this is based off of real life experience in this current relationship. If you don't know, we are married. We've been married for over a year now. We've been together how many years? 5, 6, 5.
Coming up on 6.
2016. So anyways, coming up on 6 years and in the month. Yay! And so, you know, we've had a good amount of experience with one another.
2 months.
What month are we in?
We're in November.
Doesn't matter. Anyways, and also our past relationships and things that we've analyzed and observed from those as well, taking all of those pieces and compiling them to say, hey, how do I better the relationship that I'm currently in? Or how do I know maybe I don't need to any longer be in this relationship? So let's get into it.
Yeah, so what inspired this video was, you know, when you're in any relationship, like you go through ups and downs. Like it's not just linear, it's not just always upwards. And, you know, one of the things that we always say is that before every breakthrough, there is a breakdown. And, you know, we've literally just come out of a breakdown. So, you know, like when you're going through a breakdown, it just brings in a lot of peace and a lot of gratitude when you're in a good relationship. Because, I mean, this is why the breakdown happens, because you're communicating about, you know, what's going on that, you know, makes you either realize what needs to improve or really appreciate what you've got going on. So let's get to it.
Yeah, and I've been in I was actually married to a man for 3 whole months. I made it pretty far. And, you know, that's a difficult situation. And so, you know, there's certain things that we recognize in a relationship. For one, it's really important to know, what do I want? What do I want out of life? What do I want in a partner or in a relationship of any kind that is going to be supportive of the things that I want, truly supportive of that. And, you know, one thing in a good quality relationship is, for one, to enter that relationship being wholeheartedly, 100% genuinely yourself. Showing all of your true colors, all of your imperfections, just being genuinely you. Because when you go into a relationship like that, you're putting all of your cards on the table. I think that a lot of times we get wrapped up in, is this person going to like me? And then by default, and maybe even subconsciously, begin changing the way that we do things or say things or what we're into or what we like, to adapt to the things that we think that they're going to like about us. And we kind of transform into that. So if you're feeling unhappy in a relationship, you know, you have to ask yourself, for one, am I able to be myself? Am I able to be myself? Now, if you're already in a relationship and you didn't start by being genuinely yourself, well, that's on you. But that doesn't mean that you can't begin to change that. It just makes it a little bit more difficult, because you have to communicate. You've got to have a conversation with somebody. You've got to say, hey, you know, I know that I haven't been this way or that way. And so, you know, and I'm feeling like, or you just bring it up like, hey, I want to try something new. Like new, but like, you wanted to do it forever. Who are you? You're not even the same person anymore. You're like, no, I
You're
just
not
wasn't
the same
being
person I met.
I just wasn't being the person that I am when we met. You know, so that makes it more difficult. Because then there's change. And change is tricky.
Yeah.
So number one, being genuinely you, and nobody can love you more than you can love yourself. Even if they say that they do, you will not accept it as more than you love yourself. So maybe that's not true. Somebody could love you more than you love yourself, but you will never accept a greater amount of love or care than you have for yourself. You'll never accept any more than that from somebody else. So really, a relationship is two. You are your own independent person.
Mm-hmm.
I am my own independent person.
Mm-hmm.
You have to love you, care about you, respect you, do what you want to do. You have to be the most important thing to you. You have to be.
Always.
You have to be. I have to be the most important thing to me. I have to do what I want to do. I have to genuinely care about me. It's two independent things coming together to form a partnership.
Mm-hmm.
But you are still an individual person, and so you still have to take care of you. It's just now I've added another element into that, and that element needs to be as respectful to me as I should be to myself.
Mm-hmm. And I think that it's really important too that, you know, before going into any relationship, that you're just, you know yourself.
Mm.
Because like what you said, let's say you like someone, you meet them, you are more likely to do things that will make them want you even more.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're not sure about yourself, what's gonna happen in the long run is that you're gonna get more lost.
Mm-hmm.
Because you're gonna cater to them, you're gonna do more of what they want. And, you know, like as things evolve, we all evolve, whether we like it or not. It's just a matter of, do we evolve together? Do we evolve apart? And, you know, it's one or the other, really. So, you know, if you go into it not fully being you, what's happening in the long run is that you're risking evolving apart. I think that people could still evolve together, while at the same time, it would probably take two extremely emotionally intelligent people who really like each other and are probably invested in it for a bigger purpose. I mean, you know, if something is not aligned and there's no similar bigger purpose, then why bother?
Everybody has needs and wants, and if those needs and wants are not being met, things go sideways and you could become resentful. And if you're resentful, then your communication is more difficult to be respectful in. So, very recently,
Mm-hmm.
I have hurt your feelings.
Mm-hmm.
And this happens. No relationship is void of this, because everybody has imperfections and everybody has their moments where their weaknesses really shine. And recently, this happened. And, you know, a behavior that I had was just like it really didn't have anything to do with you. It wasn't the reason that I kicked the tire on the car because I was mad at my workout, which sounds like such a dumb thing, but you know, like you ended up taking like the brunt of it, because then the car alarm went off and you had to stop your workout, and then you went and you grabbed the thing and you turned the car alarm off, and then the dog ran out, and then I put the dog back in the house, and then I slammed the door and you were standing right there, and I just had a really bad attitude. I had poor and unsportsmanlike conduct, and you know, you were feeling like, hey, you know, how did you describe it to me? Like what you were feeling?
I felt like a burden.
Yeah, you felt like a burden. And you know, this is, again, have nothing to do with her. But...
And I knew that.
But
That's why I'm like, let me go take a run.
But you still feel it. You can't not feel
Right.
it. And when you feel that, you can't not forget about it. And if you don't talk about it, you can't get over it. She told me specifically, I'm feeling resentful. And I was like, because that's the worst feeling for me, to know that I created that feeling in the person that I absolutely love the most on this planet, besides maybe myself. And that's not a conceited thing that I just got done saying. You should be the most important person to you. But, you know, so what happened was, we have to learn how to communicate respectfully. If your feelings are hurt, or you hurt somebody else's feelings, there has to be a mutual respect in that communication. It can't be blamey. It's your fault. You did this. You said that. You made me feel this way. I can't believe because it doesn't resolve anything. It just, where there's friction, there's heat. And so if you're coming at somebody and you're not respecting their position, or where they may be coming from, or seeking to understand them, then they're going to feel attacked. And if they feel attacked, they're going to attack. It's a normal human behavior.
Yeah.
And so, okay, when this happens, then how do we need to know, I would say, okay, number 2, you need to know how to respectfully communicate your feelings and don't hold it in.
Because holding it in creates grudge. That's why I have to let it out. It's like a virus. You know, like if you let it reside within you, because you're like, oh, I'm just, you know, like, keep it together because, you know, we have a lot going on, or we have this event to attend. Like, no, everything that you will go into will not be your best effort, because there is one thing that you are still thinking about. And you gotta let it out.
Yeah.
And I think it's also important, you know, when you share something like, I'm resentful, like, of course, it's not something easy to share, so you may want to hold back on it. And I think it's always important that when you share it, like, you do your part in taking responsibility too, so that, you know, because like, as you're releasing the emotions, like, it's not coming in the form of an attack.
Because, well, the truth is also, you are responsible for part of it.
Yeah.
It takes two to tango.
Yeah.
So even if you're feeling a certain way, there's something you're also responsible for. It might not be directly related, but, you know, it's 1, know thyself. And number 2, learn how to communicate respectfully. 3, don't hold things in. 4, make a plan to improve. Like, verbally, like, actually say, hey, what was my responsibility in this, and what can I get better at? And hopefully there's reciprocation, where the other part will also say, okay, what am I responsible for, and what can I be better at? If it's always one-sided, you're in a tricky relationship, because you can't change somebody. You can communicate with them respectfully. You can do your best to put yourself in their shoes and to see their side of things, and you can take responsibility for yourself and what you're responsible for, but you cannot make the other person take responsibility. You cannot make the other person communicate respectfully. You cannot make the other person change their behavior. All you can do is hope that your quality interaction with them is reciprocated by them.
And will inspire
and
change.
And will inspire change. So then the next thing is, I wrote a rule for myself, because I recognize there's something that I've been trying to be better at. And if I want to be better at something, I have to know what are the actions that I need to take to be better at that thing, or I will expect to not get better at it. So for me, it's what is going to be the thing that I do the next time something like that happens? How am I going to improve on it? What's going to be different? Because if nothing changes, nothing changes. So what are you going to do differently?
The average failure rate of marriages is 60%. And I think we've been married for over a year now, and most marriages fail within the first 5 years. I think it's because relationships are hard. And relationships, not just with yourself, because you have a relationship with yourself. That's why, you know, like, rule number 1 is, you know, when entering a relationship, be good with you. Because if your relationship with yourself is broken, you're gonna bring that, brokenness to the other person.
I would say that's one of the major contributions to failed marriages is a failed relationship with yourself.
For sure. So the other part is, considering the fact that, relationships are hard, you're not just managing yourself, it's also like managing the emotions of another person or working through it together. Ideally, you don't want to manage it. You want to coexist and, harmonize it. That requires a strong person. So, I think to make relationships last, you need to be a strong individual to begin with.
That doesn't mean strong, like, ooh, I can lift the log away. That just means like very, very competent in just who you are as a person and what you want.
Yeah, and expecting things to not be easy, but also having the ability to persevere, like, what we have just gone through. For us, the most important thing is that we're good. Like, we play so many roles in each other's lives, and it doesn't matter, like, what is going on. Like, if something is going on between us, it has to be solved immediately.
Yeah, I can feel it, or you can feel it. We both know.
Yeah, like, it's just, like, it's the first thing that, has to be dealt with. So, recently we've had that situation, solved that, and it's like, the feeling after is like, man, I just feel so grateful.
That's how you should feel.
Yeah, that's how you should feel. You should feel solid and grateful in what you have.
And you should feel like that you've come to a resolution. And you were talking about why marriages fail.
Yes, it's because people don't have strong relationships with themselves, and then you're bringing another person into the element. And you need to have two strong people, like two resilient, committed, trustworthy people.
So committed is the thing that I was looking for. Commitment sounds like, oh yeah, sure, I'm committed. But you know what? The reason why people fail most things is because of lack of commitment.
Yeah.
And do you want to know what the dictionary definition of commitment is? I will tell you after I spell it right. The state or quality of being dedicated to a cause, activity, etc. An engagement or obligation that restricts freedom of action. Commitment. It does. Listen, are you committed to weight loss? Then guess what? There are freedom restrictions. You can't have all the brownies you want to eat and lose weight. You can have excuses or you can have results, but you can't have both. You've heard that before. So there is, but it is a freedom to choose the restriction that you're committed to, obligated to.
Mm-hmm.
And people don't commit. And they don't commit to themselves. There's a reason why any venture that somebody goes on, any journey, any goal, anything that somebody says, I'm going to do this, and then they don't do it, is because they didn't commit to it all the way. Commitment means you burn the ships. You burn the ships. You're on the island, and the ships are gone. You have no escape.
Yeah.
You have to figure it out.
Yeah.
And you do or you die.
Yeah.
That's full commitment. And so imagine, what was the last thing you said you were going to do and you didn't follow through? You just weren't committed. And this might be hard to hear.
And it doesn't make you a bad person.
No, it doesn't.
But it doesn't make you
it doesn't make you a bad person, but it will lower the quality of your life.
Yeah.
You have to learn to commit, and with commitment comes compromise.
Oh.
In any relationship, you have to compromise. Even with yourself. If I want to be the fittest individual I can be, I have to compromise. Sometimes I'm going to feel tired, but I know I'm going to have to work out anyways. You know,
I'm gonna have to say no to a lot of people.
I'm gonna, you know, I'm gonna be at a holiday event with my family, and I'm gonna have to say no to the traditional dessert, whatever. Sometimes
you may not even want to go to the holiday event.
You might completely disengage from holiday events. You know, it just depends, and every single person is different. But I will tell you, the more extreme your commitment, the more extreme your results.
Oh, yes.
So, you know, it's also the more extreme your commitment. I am committed to doing X, Y, and Z actions to get me to a goal.
I think most people think that they're committed when they haven't built a threshold of commitment. I think the commitment is like, it's an evolving process, and it's something that needs to happen daily. Because just because you were committed yesterday doesn't mean that you're committed today. Look at how many millions of people are so committed on January 1st. This year is gonna be my year. I can just feel it. I know. The minute you get hit with an adversity, are you still committed? Are you still gonna make it to the gym? Are you still gonna like eat clean?
Commitment means nothing's gonna get in my way of me achieving the target.
Regardless of how uncomfortable it is.
Yeah, and you know, so communication is massive. And if you're committed to that person, if you're committed, you're gonna communicate. You have to communicate. There's no way around it. You sweep things under the rug, guess what? The rug's gonna come up eventually. You're gonna move that rug eventually, and all the stuff's just gonna be there underneath it. So better to vacuum behind the couch weekly than when you move, find that there's some dead species underneath there. You know what I mean? Like, because then it just makes it harder to clean up later. So be yourself, know yourself, love yourself, respect yourself, demand respect for yourself from the other person. Communicate when things go sideways. Put yourself in the other person's shoes. Try to understand where they're coming from. Take responsibility for your own self and your own actions. Make a plan to be better and be committed.
If you like this episode and you found value in it, please go ahead and subscribe if you haven't already. If you learned one thing from it, we would love to know, or maybe it just resonated with you. In the comments, just let us know. What was the one thing that you took away or really resonated with? If there was something that you didn't like that we said, you can feel free to share that too also. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you on the next one.
Bye!